A first alert forecast.
All right, let's talk about some new data that we've received this evening. And I've actually been asked this a couple times over the past day or two. What do you really think? How do you really feel about the situation? I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you. I'm not more concerned today than I was yesterday. It's the same level of concern that we had about Sunday, meaning to take this threat seriously. But I'm not overly anxious, overly nervous about the intensity of the storms, the widespread nature of potential severe weather. We still need to see things come into play, particularly the day of. And I know that's frustrating to hear, but there are so many things that need to happen the day of to really ramp up that severe risk. And if I start to get a little more nervous about it, I will absolutely let you know. We're not going to necessarily hide the fact that it's becoming a dangerous situation. But at the present, again, a lot of things need to happen and go right. So let's talk about it. The timing, primary impacts from about 7 or so tomorrow evening through about 1 a.m. on Thursday. I know, still a pretty broad range. Unfortunately, when it comes to forecast data, there's still some disagreement as to when the main line moves along our western communities like Wabash and Huntington. We don't want to just forecast for Fort Wayne, but we have kind of a broad area we need to cover here. What hasn't changed? Potential for some severe weather. So wind, tornado, hail, that's still all on the table. And also, we're expecting that the primary impacts here would really be damaging wind gusts first and foremost. The second risk here would be the isolated tornado risk, which really depends a lot on the amount of destabilization, instability that we can get throughout the day. And you've heard me say this many times, clearing, heating, sunshine, that really helps prime the atmosphere for what would otherwise be a pretty decent environment for some rotating storms. We have plenty of wind shear. That's wind that's just racing right above you. You can't sense it, but it's happening just right above you. And as that happens, when you see that instability rise with that racing wind, that's when you start to see some of that rotation. That could happen tomorrow. But again, we got to watch to see that heating, the clearing, when those early showers and storms move out tomorrow morning. There's a greater moderate risk, level 4 out of 5, well to the south in southern Indiana and points south. We're still in that 3 out of 5, which is still serious, but we do expect a higher severe risk to be well to the south across the southern portions of the state. Severe risks tomorrow evening and night. Tornado, hail, isolated flooding, all possible here. The damaging wind risk is the highest at about 60 plus miles per hour as it moves in. As I mentioned, we could see some morning showers and thunderstorms that are expected to be non-severe. Warm front lifts northward, and as it does, it will warm temperatures rapidly. There's going to be enough cold air for some snow in central and southern Michigan, believe it or not. It'll be a chilly morning tomorrow morning, but temperatures will rise rapidly with that warm front and bring with it some instability. Could have, again, some elevated thunderstorms. And then throughout the day, we've got to watch the cloud cover, any additional lingering showers, the more the better to avoid severe weather. If we see more substantial clearing, that would relatively mean some bad news as far as the strengthening of these potential showers and storms. But here it is, just ahead of the main line. We're going to be tracking a batch of showers and thunderstorms that could take advantage of what instability is already in place. This would be, again, 7 or 8 p.m. or so along the Kosciuszko, Wabash counties areas. This line moves eastward from about 8 to 9, 8 to 10. We'd expect that to move through Fort Wayne, the Noble, DeKalb counties, Whitley County, and then after about 9, 10 p.m. into northwest Ohio. So our friends in Van Wert, Paulding, you can expect that line to move through at around 10, 11 p.m., maybe as late as midnight, with that front finally exiting early Thursday morning, although by this point the severe weather is done after about midnight or so on Thursday. As far as rainfall is concerned, through tomorrow morning, if we can see some of those showers and thunderstorms develop, that could produce a quick half an inch, quarter of an inch of rain as it moves through, and then we'll see an additional half an inch to an inch of rain with that main batch of precipitation that moves in tomorrow evening. Again, we're going to be very curious to see the atmospheric dynamics tomorrow, that lift, that instability, as that cold front advances later tomorrow. So there are still some things that can change, for better or for worse, as the system moves in. But we do not want to forecast for the absolute worst case scenario. You want to be prepared, not scared. We know what is possible, but we also know what's probably more likely. And what's more likely is that many receive gusty showers, but others, isolated spots, much like Sunday, could receive stronger wind, and again, maybe an isolated tornado. But that's why we're here to walk you through it as it moves in tomorrow evening and night. Thursday, partly sunny, 63, a few scattered showers. 57, mostly cloudy, a little bit of late rain possible. Saturday, rain likely. Look at that high temperature, 54, a really soggy several days. Many lawns are squishy, even though they're turning green. We're looking at mostly cloudy skies on Sunday with gradually clearing, but chilly conditions for early April, only in the low to mid 40s next week with lows back into the 20s.
Raise your hand if you have a lot of puppy paw prints on the floor.
Oh, yes.
Or on the furniture or whatever, yeah.
Every day, multiple times a day.
Yeah, it's a rite of passage.
It is,
this
and a labor
time
of love
year.
to take care of those little
Oh,
paws.
Gotta love them, definitely. Thank you, Matt. Well.